done the hard work of putting all of the information together, to crystallizing the narrative, to constructing the optimal set of counterparties to reach out to actually going out and having those discussions and extracting offers from that counterparty pool. And now you're at the point of figuring out which path is the best one forward. And even when you find that one optimal party, how do you negotiate to a mutually agreeable deal from there? And so there's a few things to focus on while doing this. A lot of it comes from just repetitions and from doing this time and time again. The first thing to consider is what you should ask for. It's not just headline dollar amount, but how much of that is guaranteed, how much of it is held back, how much of it comes over time, what the obligations are of the parties on a post-transaction basis, and how is risk allocated, right? So these are things that should be proactively asked about, to say, not just leave things to chance, not just leave things to, well, let's see what shows up on the LOI, but things that can be asked during the negotiation process. Because not everything is apples to apples. If two parties offered the same amount of money, but one of them had 50% of the money over some period of time with a lot of risk and the other did not, you can make some judgments and decisions proactively by having part of these discussions and asking the right questions. The second component is what you should expect. And so by doing this hundreds of times, we know what you should be expecting to see. That if someone said, I will offer X dollars, we know, and bleeds into the questions we should ask, right? We know that some component of that will be over time length. We should expect that there's some transitionary period on a post-transaction basis where ownership is expected to stick around, to contribute, and again, leading into questions of to what extent, for how long, to what level of intensity. The evolution of this thought is the next piece, is what you should tolerate. And so there are certain asks that people will make that are appropriate. There's certain asks that we would expect and people would make that are not appropriate. And again, on an unrepresented party where people are just inquiring and a deal is just being hashed out in real time, the challenge can be sometimes that there's no clear delineation of, is this an appropriate ask? Is this market? Is this not market? And these are things that we know. We do this enough times that we can very clearly say, hey, look, this element of here is a little wonky, a little idiosyncratic for the situation. Let's bring it back in line to what the market typically expects, the market typically wants. And then leading to the last point is what you should push for. The same gauge of veracity or appropriateness, or propriety of questions coming inward or of asks coming inward relative to a negotiation, right? If someone says, I want you to stick around, I want some portion of the capital to be an earnout, we then want to push back on certain things and say, look, let's let that transitionary period be shorter. Let's let the at-risk capital be less at risk, right? If you said, is it revenue? Is it EBITDA? Is it what performance metric is going to be gauged on a going forward basis to determine if the earnout's going to be earned? That's our job, is to push on these and see just how much we can bring them back, both as part of the negotiation in conjunction with other parties, and just broadly speaking by us knowing, after again countless iterations, just how far some of these things can be pushed, right? Every deal breaks at a certain point. Things are only so malleable or bendable before a party will walk away. That's always been the case, and whether it's our clients or the counterparty. And therefore, knowing where some of those lines are, knowing which parts you can push, which gears can be turned, which levers can be pulled, many other analogies. That's the important part of having expert representation on your side of things. So again, when it boils down to the negotiation, when you're at that point of an M&A or a capital deal, you want to know what you should ask for, what you should expect, what you should tolerate, what you shouldn't tolerate, and how far can you push. When you iterate that exercise over several parties, you can very quickly work down the interested parties and an opportunity to a single actionable party to move into diligence with. And that's our job. Hope the day is going well for everyone. Keep pushing forward. God bless. We'll see you again tomorrow.